I know this isn't the first time we've seen the tactical droid, for lack of a better term. I know they have a proper term, I just don't care for it right now. But this is for the first time they've really had a lot of time on screen. And I found it to be interesting because the way they're talking, it's like this is a droid built specifically to do tactics and strategy. Makes sense for a droid army. But the droids, and this is not the only time this is true, in fact, every time one of these tactical droids on, they're almost laughably incompetent, only capable of doing base level, lowest possible tier copper or bronze style tactics, right? And I always wondered why that was. Now, the obvious answer is because of the fact that this is a cartoon which was not designed to be specifically in-depth or super nuanced or whatever, at least at its earlier stages. But I have another answer just because I feel like coming up with one. It's because they're cheap. No, seriously, think about it. They're battle droids. They could have super mega death powerful doom droids, and instead they have cheap pieces of scrap who can barely hold a blaster and can barely shoot straight. Because they're cheaper to produce, especially en masse. So I think that the, let's call it the neural net or whatever, of the tactical droids is just inferior to what it should be for a tactical droid, and as a consequence, they're not that smart. They've also got this really weird thing of being smug, stupid, evil. Like, haha, I have you now. And rather than doing anything smart, like immediately shooting, as in this episode, or later on, as in actually hitting the button, instead they just sit there and gloat for a minute. I have won. This is definitely something I, as a droid, would do. This episode was very typical and very predictable, but I have to admit it was actually still enjoyable to go through. I like seeing the ground level. In fact, I think the idea of following two disconnected troopers in part of an overall large-scale invasion would make for an interesting story, in general. And I like the idea of the two of these guys basically being forced to take care of a kid when none of the Jongos are particularly kid-oriented, right? I mean, even the original only got Boba Fett because of his philosophical concerns on the matter, and because George Lucas was desperately trying to get Boba Fett into the prequel trilogy. So not really a lot of, paternal instincts going on there, or paternal patterning, and I'm sure the droid, I shouldn't say droid, the clone programming didn't have any of that either. I did like how Obi-Wan could speak, I don't know what language that is, Rylothian, maybe? I don't know. It could speak Twi'lek, probably just Huttese. I mean, they all seem to speak Huttese. And I also liked how he pretty much was on top of things immediately, kind of how he should be. I even like how they used a good example of why they don't just completely win from the moment they show up, because the enemy was literally using human hostages as shields. That makes sense. Otherwise, picture as if this was a purely enemy planet. The moment the Republic established spatial superiority, that's it. Alright, we're just going to hang out up here and bombard the planet for a while. See you in a bit. But no, because this is a friendly planet they are trying to reclaim, and they're using human hostages as shields, we gotta do things the hard way, and I did like that. Anyways, not much else to share. See you next time, guys.